Well, my friends, it appears that AMD is absolutely freaking cooked this time. So, we're going to be talking about the Intel and Nvidia essential merger that is going to be catastrophic for AMD, at least from the way I'm feeling right now. That's why I brought on my friend, the Silicon Fox. He's going to try to calm me down because I'm absolutely freaking out that my beloved
Yeah.
AMD is not going to be around much longer. So, with that, thank you for coming back to Frog Boy X1 Gaming and Tech Reviews. Like I said, the Silicon Fox is here with me today to discuss the merger, the essentially life support that was fed to Nvidia or fed to Intel through that $5 billion injection. So I'm gonna let Silicon Fox introduce himself again, and then we are gonna get started with this.
Thank you for having me come back on and, talk you off the ledge. But for those who missed the first episode, of course, I'm the Silicon Fox. I focus on mobile products, mobile silicon, chip lithography, laptops, handhelds, mini PCs, all that fun stuff. And this all ties directly into today's topic because there's a lot going on. Like the news and the press releases really can't do it justice. Intel and Nvidia have effectively become a monopoly together. That's really what it is. This is going to be a monopoly, and AMD should be concerned, but it's not all doom and gloom. They've still got some levers they can pull, and they've still got some key market strengths that Intel and Nvidia are going to have to work a little harder to breach.
Well, with that, hopefully, my friend Silicon Fox can talk me off the edge because I am paranoid. I'm really at a point because when
Yeah.
you look at Intel and Nvidia market penetration in the OEM sectors or the pre-built sector, and now with them joining forces and building APUs, x86 Intel CPUs with Nvidia chiplets. I'm terrified about the future of AMD. Like I love AMD. I think it's an incredible brand. It might not be the best, but it's good enough that I'm happy with it. And so this kind of this kind of this kind of has me a little worried about AMD, guys. And I
Yeah.
don't
AM
want to.
done. That's what we're saying. It's AM done.
AM done. So with your your knowledge of like the mobile platforms and stuff, I kind of moved away from that stuff. Went more PC,
Mhm.
tower stuff like that. Obviously, consoles and stuff are kind of close to what you would be covering, like APUs
Yeah.
with your with handhelds and laptops and stuff. Where do you see this type of a collaboration between these two behemoths actually going? Like, what direction do you see that? What kind of market penetration and domination domination do you see becoming a reality out of this? And do you see this getting more expensive for gamers, just in general, the people that just want to buy a platform, plug it
Mhm.
in, play a video game? You got CUDA that is essentially, I mean, it's good for gaming, but it's way more for the AI and other programming and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
And you're still going to be paying for that.
Yes, you will
And
be.
and now you're going to be paying for Intel too. Um, I don't know. Where do you see this going?
Well, personally, I think that the both of them are going to hit enterprise and hyperscalers and data centers really hard first. I don't think Nvidia and Intel are going to come for client just like right at the gate. I don't think we're their main concern right now because both of them are doing okay. Nvidia's like their GPUs still go into laptop designs. They're not losing market share on shipments. They're doing fine in client, but I think they are concerned about AMD's like it's a slow rise, right? Like AMD's not doing super well compared to Nvidia in enterprise, but they are getting a few key markets, not big players, but like smaller to medium-sized enterprises who can't quite afford the Nvidia lock-in. And I think that market is the one that's growing because as we said before, or in like, prior talks, like bigger hyperscalers, Amazon, Google, they're going away from Nvidia. Like they're doing
Yeah.
their own designs. So now the market is going to become for everyone who's not worth hundreds of billions of dollars,
Yeah.
basically. That's the new battleground. So they're going to try to capture that while they can with compatibility, x86 interoperability. But AMD's, they've got an advantage, and that advantage they have is that they're a lean and agile company, and they've got a very good relationship with TSMC.
They
So
do.
I think that they're going to try to like almost mirror what Intel and Nvidia are doing, maybe get a little closer to TSMC, try to get better deals on leading nodes, and leverage legacy nodes.
Yeah.
You talk about this a lot. Like a lot of gaming products that came out in the last 5 years on older nodes are still really good today.
Yeah.
Like, do you really care if your GPU is 4 nanometer or 3 nanometer? Nobody knows.
No.
You
I
really can't tell.
Yeah, I don't really think that kind of stuff matters because we're at a point right now with software wise. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whether you love it or hate it, whether you like MFG4X, whether you like frame generation, whether you like FSR or DLSS, we're at a point right now with that software to where that could be backported or not even backported, but say if they came out, like say they went back to like 7 nanometer for your gaming stuff and then they built in the the AI accelerators into these platforms, even on that node, you would still get incredible performance that I don't think you would, as a person, really realize. The only thing you would really have to worry about is the other top tech tubers out there bashing these companies for regressing. But it wouldn't really be a regression to you because you, as an end user, as a gamer, wouldn't even notice. You wouldn't even care. Like
You wouldn't
you
really
would
notice,
get
yeah.
better performance. You'd still get your beautiful graphics, and it would be cheaper. It would actually be cheaper because you're going back to a bigger, less expensive node that could essentially still have a lot of life left in that. So there are, like Silicon Fox says, there are ways that AMD could outmaneuver and still hang on to the bulk of the gaming. Um, the bulk of the gaming, obviously consoles and stuff like that, and
Console
like
is huge.
APUs,
They can't
stuff
lose
like that.
console.
They have to keep that because that's what keeps
Yeah.
AMD basically, you know, as one of the front runners. Most games that come out automatically work on the console, so they do scale pretty well across the AMD stack and PC.
Mm-hmm.
What do you so what would you say, honestly? Do you think that rack is going to be their first thing, net, building out for corporations and stuff like that, and maybe not necessarily start hitting that APU market for like gamers and laptops and stuff like that? Or do you think it'll be a simultaneous launch where I would kind of see them wanting to do something more simultaneous instead of just focusing on that? Because they can essentially, it doesn't take a lot to build an APU, and if they're using chiplets for Nvidia, I think I think they could probably do that pretty quickly because they don't
They
need the highest quality silicon
they
for
could
those.
swing something out. The reason that I think they're going to attack hyperscalers first is because like they specifically said they're going to use the leading nodes. So they're looking at 14 angstrom. There was talks of 16 angstrom. Like these are very dense. We're talking like 1.4 nanometer, like below 2 nanometer nodes.
Wow.
I don't think they're going to rush that into a consumer product. Like you're going to put 1.4 nanometer in a laptop APU that you're going to sell to Joe Schmo. No, that's something that you want to like use and tape out for a Microsoft or for an Oracle or any other hyperscaler like that. That's kind of why I think they're going to attack that first. Now, of course, they said it. They're coming for client. They're
Yeah.
coming for us, mobile, laptop, all that good stuff. But I don't think it's going to be as soon as everyone else does. I think we're still maybe like 2 years out
Yeah.
because remember the N1X was Nvidia's or is Nvidia's ARM chip. It was
Yeah.
supposed to go into a Windows laptop this year. It was at Computex. It was behind closed doors, but
Hmm.
it's still not here. So I think they're kind of like pausing the brakes on coming to market with a consumer client Windows chip like that. So I don't know. I don't think they're in a rush to do it. I really don't.
So what if if you look at something like the Nintendo Switch too,
Uh huh.
okay,
Yep.
that's obviously what ARM and Nvidia.
Yeah, ARM and Nvidia. Yep.
So if they actually did do this, started going out with like an Intel CPU, and they bring in something, even because that's Ampere, so that's still on what, 14? Is it 14 nanometer or 7 nanometer for or is it 13 nanometer?
Talking about for Switch 2?
For Ampere? Yeah,
Oh, Ampere was 8 nanometer.
8 nanometer. So if it's an eight
Yeah.
nanometer, even if they kept that, like you see how performant the Switch 2 is, even if they stayed on like Samsung's 8 nanometer or something like that, and then just built that into with an Intel CPU or whatever as an APU, I don't know, man. Like I feel like we are at the starting point to where I kind of feel like AMD and Nvidia are going to kind of start pushing us gamers more toward that APU market, and maybe start phasing out some of them higher end GPUs. I mean, we've already kind of seen that over the last couple of generations. We've started getting like smaller bus width. We've started getting less overall die size on our freaking GPUs.
Hmm.
We're getting lower power budgets. You know, only like something like the 5090 and the 4090 like really push the die size to its limits in terms of like what they could actually physically put out at this time,
Yeah.
and make it a feasible product. It's I don't know, man. Like I am kind of a little bit worried about the future of AMD in this new market with AMD and Intel working so closely together, just due to the fact that both of them already have a really good penetration and saturation into like OEMs and pre-builts and stuff like that.
It's a
So I
concern. Yeah,
so
it
I do
is.
I have a lot I have a lot of concern over the viability of AMD being able to compete. Now AMD does have they do have desktop, they do have laptop, they do have APU, NPU, they've got consoles, um, they've got data center. They basically have their foot in everything. Like AMD does have a
Yeah.
solution, but AMD doesn't have a product stack as good as Nvidia's CUDA that they could actually take market share from Nvidia. And that's, as I can see it right now, that is the biggest hurdle that AMD faces. Now we do have Rock'em, and it is like obviously you can spend the time and spend the resources and research and development and get it working, but it's just so plug and play with CUDA that at this hyper scaling moment in time for AI, do can these companies really take that risk of going and building out a full on AMD system and then having to do all that other stuff just to get it going? I think I think we're at an interesting crossroads when it
We
comes to
are.
tech, and honestly, I feel like this could harm growth in the long run if everything is just centered around two massive companies that have formed one
It
massive
can. Yeah.
monopoly. It could
Yeah.
slow down and start to regress, especially if AMD gets pushed out of this circle. And I'm not a billion. I don't have billions of dollars to invest in AMD to like help them grow their side of the thing. And it doesn't seem like anybody else is really willing to take that chance on AMD, especially after watching Gamers Nexus thing for like he was doing that thing in China, you know, the black market or whatever. And
Yeah.
you listen to some of the professors over there in the universities in China talking about like, look, man, we would buy AMD, but we just how do we get it running? Like, what do we do? How do we make this work the way that CUDA does? Because CUDA is just literally everywhere. It's so ingrained in everything that everybody does. Nvidia is the PC market. It is like it's the PC market, and trying to get exposure as AMD when people already think that you are the Wish brand of PC gaming, it's tough, you know. And
It is.
oh man, I don't know. What are your
Um,
thoughts on that?
well, I think so. I know why they don't want to do this, but I think AMD's most viable path forward is they have to invest in developing markets. I'm sorry. Let's forget about the US, forget about UK,
Yeah.
the EU. Let's talk about some of these countries where these students and university people can't afford to buy anything. They're
Yeah.
using like decades old secondhand PCs. If AMD was to go
South
to
America,
Brazil, to
bro. Yep.
Chile, to India, go to their universities, go to their students, and you just give them AMD computers. You give them Strix Halo, you give
Yeah,
them these things, you give
that's a
them documentation with ROCm.
that's a good
They are
idea.
the next generation. How do you think CUDA got big? It wasn't that AIM or Nvidia went to all these like big companies first. No, it
Mm,
started on gaming GPUs. It
yep.
was kids growing up, playing on GeForce cards, then in college, in computer science, using those same gaming GeForce cards to do their studies
Yeah.
as the software stack improved. I promise you, you go to a country like India and you invest in their AI infrastructure and you make it AMD, dude, that's going to
Yeah.
be a bulwark against Nvidia because Nvidia is not going to India to do that.
Yeah.
Nvidia is not going to Brazil to go in their classrooms in their schools and donate these machines to the next
Mm,
generation because all the best coders and stuff are not going to come from America and China. You're
yep.
going to have savants who grew up in South America, savants from India, savants from the Baltic region.
Yep.
Who's supporting them? If AMD hits those like smaller markets now, when they come up, you will have a full generation that was trained on ROCm,
Yeah.
that was trained in that ecosystem, and that's your bulwark. That's what it is right now.
Yep, I actually did. I actually did hear something about that, about the startup of Nvidia, and that's basically what happened. You know, he kind of just
Yeah.
it was there, and they started building around it, and pretty soon it got so strong that it's pretty hard to penetrate now. And you're right. If AMD was to go to these other countries, you know, and maybe even give them like half off or something, you know, at least get their products there and get people building on those. Yeah, I do think that that is a possibility, but you know, that's a massive ask for any publicly traded company nowadays to
Yes.
do something like that. It just but if they don't do something, then they're done completely. Like they're
Yeah, and
completely
it's
backed out of it because now that Intel and Nvidia are teaming up, that makes both of those companies stronger just by association because both
it
of them are
does.
already
Yeah.
good. I mean, yeah, maybe AMD's got like a better CPU right now, but Nvidia and and Intel together, that is a massive force to be reckoned with.
And let's not pretend like AMD has the best gaming CPU, but everything below that top flagship SKU, it's competitive with Intel.
Yeah,
And Intel's on an older node. It's Intel 7. That's like,
yeah,
well, it's not 7 nanometer, but it's like 5 nanometer, 4 nanometer. So it's competitive.
yeah.
Even on like 14th gen, 13th gen, 12th gen, they're still there. They can't compete with X3D, but
Oh man, what happened to you? Hold on a minute. Let me get you back in.
you've got options. It's not doom and gloom. So
Yeah, you
they
like
need to reinvest. They have to reinvest. That's the problem. Companies don't reinvest. They get all the money, all the revenue, and they just hoard it. Well, I'm sorry, AMD's made money these last couple quarters. They've been making money these few years.
yeah.
Like they have been going broke. Where are you reinvesting that money to?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe they've got something up their sleeve that's really going to be beneficial for, like the future, but like as it sits right now, knowing what we know and seeing the product stack that we have
Mm-hmm.
available to us today from AMD, I mean, it's cool. Strix Halo is awesome. 9070 XT is a beast, but 9800 X3D is awesome, but like it was what 5% over the last CPUs, like doing the same thing that Intel was doing before AMD was able to surpass them, like they're putting
Mm-hmm.
out just a few percent more every time. Um, yeah, I mean, like in some ways, PC is getting stagnant, but in other ways, it's like moving forward. But I think it's definitely more stagnant than anything else. And at this point in time, it's like they're spending so much resources, like trying to divide this whole pie. When I don't know, maybe all three of them should come together and actually just build solid products, because if all three of them just got together, my gosh, man, like we could probably supercharge computing. We could probably supercharge everything that's going on right now. You know, you've got AMD trying to develop for their thing. You've got Nvidia trying to develop for their thing. Honestly, if they all three just came together, bring ARM in too, man. Oh my gosh, dude, we could probably solve all of our computing issues right then and there, because all the wafers that are being made for AMD to distribute, that's taken away from the wafers that Nvidia could be hyperscaling. I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I mean, maybe just get rid of all of the brands and just get this thing popping good and efficient. You know what I mean? If my team's gonna lose, might as well just incorporate them. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Just bring them all together. We don't need
Yeah,
freaking.
that'd be a very expensive endeavor for us, man. You know,
Yeah,
they'd charge us through the nose if
it,
they were all working together.
yeah. I don't think. I don't think. I really don't think customers is really. Yeah, dude. They clearly don't care about the poor people anymore. That's for sure.
Well, because to them, there's no money in it, bro. Like, why, like Nvidia, like, why do we want to sell a $250 5050 when we can sell a $2,000 5090, right?
Yeah.
It's just math. They're all chasing AMD, Intel. They're all chasing those higher margins, but they don't realize that amount of people is finite. You know,
Yeah.
the amount of people who can afford a 5090 or like a top flagship card or an H200, that's a finite amount of people
Mm-hmm.
versus who can buy a 5050 or 5060 Ti. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they're starting to, well, Nvidia's been neglected, but they're forgetting about the consumer and the mindset of consuming. You can only
Yeah.
squeeze them so much. There's only so many people who can drop 2K on a GPU.
I don't even think there's a lot of people that can drop money on any of this stuff, man. I got people in the comment section literally complaining about $250 GPUs, and it's like, I'm like, really? That's actually quite affordable. And after testing it, I'm like, it's actually pretty damn good to be able to utilize, the power that it's actually got. But to make things a little bit, to like try to explain it a little bit better. I mean, like both Nvidia, AMD, well, all three of them could be selling all of their chips to the AI markets. And
They're trying. They're trying.
dang, I wonder if my internet's like messed up because you like keep freezing.
Yeah, I've been seeing you freeze too. I thought your camera was overheating or something, but
No,
it's all good. It's all
yeah.
good.
As long as the voice keeps coming through, we're good. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely worried about the future of AMD. Um, I'm not worried about Nvidia. I mean, they've got everything pretty much locked down. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm quite or not disappointed, but disillusioned with the
Yeah.
with how things are progressing, because there's this it's almost like there's this rush to hyperscale all of this AI stuff,
There is.
and I feel like gamers and everybody's just getting lost because there's just so much negative noise out there about everything that it's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. Like we
Yeah,
are
so no, you're good.
we're, we're
When you
getting
say,
we're getting lost.
well, we're not a priority anymore, and I think gamers have been struggling with this for a while because you go back like pre mining boom, like the first mining boom was the first kind of inkling that we were becoming less and less of a priority, and I think gamers just having a hard time grasping that. Like as time goes on, we're just not bringing in the dough like we did, you know. And not to say that the gaming segment is unimportant or it's not making billions of dollars, because it is. You know, gaming is very important, but AI is an entirely different beast. And sometimes I just feel like it's all like fake money. It's all speculative because it's just these company valuations, these investments. It's crazy amount of money that's just flying around, and you're like, dude, there's just no way. Like, I mean, tens of billions of dollars every other few months into infrastructure, into scaling out. And we're not seeing anything bear out from it. Like, if you think about from when Chat GPT first popped off and it was like, oh, this is AI, this is the future, and all the billions in venture capital we've seen, what have we really gotten on the consumer side from that?
No, nothing really.
Yeah, nothing really, bro. Like I guess some AR glasses,
Yeah.
GPT-5.
Huh.
I mean,
Yeah.
so that these companies are burning cash to figure out what is the next big thing. You know,
Yeah.
what is AI? And that's fine. I don't think they can do that forever. I don't. There's only so much you can scale up.
Yeah.
There's only so many customers you can find that's willing to pay billions in infrastructure. There's a hard limit. And once that limit's hit, then they've got to figure out, okay, well, I guess we got to come back to our first love,
Yeah.
those poor old gamers over there.
Them poor fellas. Yeah. But I mean, by the
The
time they get back
brokies.
to us,
We're
poor
going to be
folk,
skeletons.
they're going to be like APUs and stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, like I know that me as a gamer and an AMD fan, I go straight to like doom and gloom over this situation. But you know, I like AMD, so I'm hoping that they're going to be able to stay in this race a little bit longer. But I mean,
CES is telling. I'm telling you.
yes, I'm
CES is telling
excited.
if they don't come out from if because we're gonna go to the press conference, right?
Yeah,
If they don't come out on stage and tell us what they're doing, how they're gonna counter this, and they've got to be plain. Like,
yeah,
look, we don't care if Intel and Nvidia are working together. This is our roadmap. This is our plan. Enterprise customers, gamers, everybody, you can relax. This is not going to take us out. If they don't tell us that at the Palazzo Hotel, AMD's done. It's AM
yeah,
done. Like for like it's
yeah.
because they have no answer. That's what
Yeah, they have to
really
have an answer this time. There's no more.
they have to have
I
an
mean,
answer. This
goodwill will only get them so far. So yeah. So all right, guys. Thanks for coming out again tonight. I would love to stay and chat more. We actually did sit here and record about an hour-long video
yeah,
for
we
you
did.
guys. But unfortunately, me being dumb and not doing what I'm doing, I decided to mute myself through most of it. So you got a shorter, more condensed, in my opinion, better actual better video out of this. Anyways, the other
Yeah,
one was kind of drug out, but yeah, guys, I appreciate you coming on Silicon Fox. That was really awesome, and thank you for doing that.
you're very welcome.
Your
It's a
wisdom
pleasure.
when it comes to the silicone things, it
I'm just a guy in my room, bro. I'm just a guy
yeah,
in my second bedroom.
we're just in our rooms talking about it. But yeah, I'm worried about it. I don't know if he's as worried about it as I am, but I am. Like I'm kind of worried about the whole monopoly thing, but I think we'll get through it. I think we'll
We
figure it
will.
out. So,
If
all
they
right,
can survive the Global Foundry days, they can survive this.
yep. So, all right, my friends, I'll have a link in the description for the Silicon Fox if you would like to find him and follow him. He's got some incredible projects that he's working on right now over on his channel. And so I would hope that you would take the time to actually see what he's got going on, especially if you're interested in the mobile gaming, if you're interested in laptops, if you're interested in cool stuff. He makes some incredible content, and I would absolutely appreciate you guys checking that out. So, with that, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching and have an incredible night.
Bye bye.